So now we'll go further to our next panel, digital banking technologies for next year and beyond. And I will invite my next guests, Kostas Fiakas, Chief Strategy Officer in Forum Lykos, Augustin Jianu, Product Owner, certME, and Augustin Dobre, CEO, Twispay. Okay, so I will start with the general questions first. So how do you see the trends in the digital world now? And the question is for all of you. And I will start with you, Augustin, because you are here next to me. So.
Thank you. So there are a lot of interesting trends that I've seen, and start building on what was talked about earlier in the first panel today about super apps, and then we can start adding layers upon layers of technology. AI is now trending. You can build a lot of useful features and useful services with AI. Blockchain is also a hot topic, and we can go on and on about technology and its potential future. But I think that again, building on what was said, looking at super apps, we should be looking at what is going on today and see, what are the shortcomings and the shortfalls, and how we can overcome them so that we can move towards this future that is technology or technology enabled. So I don't think we could or should be having a super app in Romania or in the European Union. It's, I think, something that maybe works for China, but we don't want to have one app, one party. So maybe we should be starting to talk about how to build super ecosystems of apps and services. And of course, blockchain is a great enabler of ecosystems, and we can use that for a lot of things. But first and foremost, we must first discuss amongst ourselves and see how we can work together to build these super ecosystems. And I'm going to acknowledge here today the presence of the National Bank, which can either stifle or foster innovation, and they have a huge role to play. They have the final say on what can be done and what cannot be done. And here I'm representing CertSign and our product certME, which is a digital identity app. And we've had a lot of pushback, from potential customers, and we've had a lot of talks. We're on the market since, I think, almost 4 years now. And the main consensus of our discussions is, we need to have a green light from the National Bank. So there are a few shortcomings there that need to be addressed in order for us to be able to work as an ecosystem. And I also want to acknowledge the presence here, at least among the partners, of, I think, around 10 banks, around 6 non-banking financial institutions, and also 5 trust service providers or digital identity service providers. So we kind of see, and also technology partners, but we kind of see this convergence of financial services and trust services and digital identity. And one of the key takeaways, if there's a key takeaway for you to have from at least this panel and bring back home, bring to the office, is how can we work together with other financial institutions, with trust service providers and identity providers to achieve some of the goals and push forward on the technology and benefit on the technology to maybe lower the costs, to maybe lower the carbon footprint, and just go to your office and ask your CFO what it would mean to reduce the costs of identity verification for customers and the cost for data actualization for customers by a factor of 16, right? Because there are 10 banks, 6 non-banking financial institutions. What it would mean to have one identity verification and then just use the results of that verification regardless of the service. And also maybe go to your ESG people and ask them what it would mean to cut down the carbon, right, with regards to identity verification by a factor of 16. So there are a lot of things that we can do, but we need to have a framework, a legal framework in which to operate. So even if we have a European regulation since 2014 on identity, even if the law 129 regarding anti-money laundering specifically says that banks and other financial institutions can use such technologies, means of electronic identifications, as they are defined by the regulation. There are regulations by the National Bank or by the Financial Supervisory Authority that prohibit players from using these technologies. And I think this is a good starting point for us to have a conversation on what the future might bring in terms of smart and responsible and sustainable usage of technology.
Mm-hmm. Great, thank you. Augustin?
Thank you. Thank you for the invitation, first of all. Innovation was, let's say, and digitalization from our point of view, because I'm speaking as a point of view of a financial institution regulated by the National Bank, as an e-money institution. I think we were the first one in Romania. So digitalization was one of the things that differentiated us against, let's say, local or traditional banking. We've been using, I think, KYC, let's say, video identification and online KYC. I think we were one of the first to do that in 2000, before the pandemic even. That was a catalyst for digitalization for the traditional players. We've been using that before that. We had the support of the National Bank. Being an e-money institution, all our products, everything is, of course, regulated and approved by the National Bank. And we had their support on online onboarding. Back in 2000, I think we were 19, 20. And right now we are looking into also non-attended video identification. And that's, again, a step that we're taking. So from my point of view right now, slowly, let's say we are not the number one in the regional area or in Europe, but digitalization is creeping its way into the financial segment in Romania. We've seen it because our license, even if it's issued here, it's passported to all the EA countries, and we have clients from Europe. So we've seen different markets, and we've seen the fact that Romania it's becoming more and more digitalized. More and more, the banks, the fintechs are starting to use interesting and innovative solutions. And my conclusion is that even if we are not the first, digitalization is starting to be a pole here in the region, especially in the banking sector and in the fintech sector.
Kostas, please.
Okay. Thank you very much for having me here, and congratulations for the very nice event. I agree with Augustin what they said. I want to add here that we see also a trend from the traditional banks with the networks going now to the digital banks. This is a clear trend, and also with the digital banking approach. And we see a lot of fintech and neobanks that they're not coming with the traditional banking history, that they invest a lot in the technology and they take a significant pie from the market. So this is something, and I believe that this is a clear message for everyone, either it's a traditional banking institute or a neobank, fintech bank, etc., to invest in the technology, because this is a driver for many aspects. We see also the approach of the banking as a service, and this includes a complete package of giving various institutes the part of the digital wallet, tokenization, virtual card issuing, even combined with physical card issuing, things that we do also as Inform and Austria Card group. And we can also combine all this banking approach together with the part of the digital onboarding, KYC. So an organization can, a fintech organization can take the whole package. So this is something that we see a clear trend. I'm saying this because also we have in our organization more than 100 customers as fintech and neobanks in our group, and we get a lot of feedback out of this and from this approach. Last, I would also say the embedded finance. It's something that also is part of our life. We see markets out of finance institutes, I mean utilities, telcos, other industries using payments or loan origination aspects from other finance institutes. So this is also a clear trend that also enables the marketplaces, and the whole industry to make simple the part of the payments. Yeah.
Okay, Kostas, let's talk about the digital transformation in the banking system, because the consumers want a frictionless experience, a rapid one, a simple one, but in the same time they want all the services to be there. And on the other side, the banks has to respect the regulations, to have all the compliance, have technology innovation. How does these two parts, from your point of view and from your perspective, in Inform Lykos, mix together to offer the best user experience?
Put all the challenges together. Directives, regulations sometimes can be a short-term obstacle, or can be also an opportunity for enabling other technologies and make things more efficient. So sometimes we have to wait to get prepared, but nevertheless, applying technologies and give tools as well combined with the services. And I will take some, we said about the digital onboarding, KYC. We can have end-to-end journeys together with document generation, electronic signatures, and not forget the part of the automations that a lot of organizations have adopted, and they use it, I would say, in silos. This is something that they have now to connect all the automations. So automations that will happen internally, but they will be able to be exposed to the customer, either through a mobile app or through a virtual assistant. And here the virtual assistant is playing a significant role in helping the user and the customer with all these new services, trends, ways to do. So definitely should be this kind of application within the mobile app, within the web app, within all the channels, to help the user take it from the hand and take them step by step in order to complete the whole process. And of course, any requests are coming from the virtual assistant and the apps to be able internally to be automated, capturing through AI the data from the document, have the workflows, document management, archived electronically, and have all this automated process end to end.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Augustin, an important part of this user experience is the identity of the user, and you have a lot of knowledge in this area. Please tell us more about this identity, since we have ADAS, we have banks has to know their customers, we have digital identity, onboarding, automation, and all of that. So, and we are preparing for ADAS 2.0. We are preparing for a digital European wallet. So it's different. So
Yeah.
what are your perspectives in this larger framework?
So I'll try to start from the future and work my way back to the present day. So I see, as was said here before, for the future, marketplaces of services that are blockchain enabled. Blockchain would enable sharing of information via the user, such that it's GDPR compliant, and basically the user is the holder of the data and the one that shares the data with the service providers. But at the same time, the service providers can trust the data that is being shared by the user. So imagine this blockchain-enabled marketplace of all types of services, financial and non-financial services. And imagine a large language model layer, right, enabling a sort of courier, a sort of assistant that gets the proper service for you at the proper time. So you need to achieve some goal, and this assistant looks through the marketplace for the best services that would align and help you to achieve your goal. So this is entirely possible technologically, and with regulations such as IDAS 2.0, which envisions the identity wallet, this is also helped to be brought about. So I guess the only thing that we need to do is to acknowledge these regulations, that they exist, and try to harmonize our own regulations to suit them and to foster this innovation in order to bring to the user the best services, in the least amount of time, with the least amount of friction. And of course, this boils down to the present, to the issue that I've underlined with digital identities, which basically on a marketing level, it's called digital identity, but in a regulation and legal talk, it's called a means of electronic identification. And again, there's this, currently you can use these according to national law, Law 129, but if you go for instance, to a broker, right, and you want to open an account with the broker, regulation number 5 since 2019 of the Financial Supervisory Authority says that for every contract that a broker signs with a client, they need to have a copy of the national ID annexed to the contract. So this is where it all breaks down. This is what I'm talking about. We have, I think, the vision in this room to build such ecosystems, to build such services, and do all these nice things for the user and for the planet, right, in a sustainable way. We just need to be able to work together, not against each other.
Mm-hmm. And on this note, to follow up your discussion, will the electronic identity card will change this?
It's an interesting question. Mainly, the issue with the national bank is that by using a means of electronic identification, they see it as an outsourcing of customer verification, and that's really frowned upon. And the question that I have is, if a user would use an electronic card, right, an electronic ID to authenticate or to enroll into a banking service, would that be considered outsourcing of identification? Because, you know, some civil servant somewhere did that identification, right? They didn't do it on their own. They just trusted the data that they received from the national electronic ID. So it's an interesting question for me, to which I don't have the answer, but it can translate likewise to the use of means of electronic identification.
Okay, thank you. Augustin, we have now in Romania a discussion, and I'm sure you are aware of that, about cash. Limiting cash, non-limiting cash, a referendum for introducing in the constitution using cash and so on. How do you see this perspective from your point of view as an electronic money institution? And also I know, talking about wallet, that you are preparing something in this direction. So,
yeah, the discussion regarding a cashless economy, I think I heard it a long time ago. There are, let's say, two edges to a sword. There are arguments for both. From an electronic issuer, I should say that a cashless society is the best. Digital money is the next thing, and this is what is going to happen in the very short future. But my personal belief is, in order to have a cashless society, first of all, you need to have the possibility to have a global infrastructure in order to give access to funds. Without a global unified infrastructure, then a cashless society is very hard to maintain or to develop. Second of all, there is also the social, let's say, traditional way of doing business. It's very hard to people that are older, let's say, to introduce the idea of digital money. I know for a fact that in Romania, at least, when the pension comes, usually 90% of the times, they go to the ATM network and they withdraw all the money to have cash. So I think that we should strive for a cashless society. Probably, as you know, the northern countries tried it. There are some discussion if they succeeded or they failed. But I think on the long term, yes, we will move to a cashless society, and that would be the goal. Cashless society should mean the availability and the possibility of users to use their assets. This is what cashless society should mean. We went from trading to coins to paper money. And I think, yes, on a medium to long term, cash will disappear as we know it today. It may be, let's say, replaced by digital currencies, by CBDCs. It may be on the blockchain. It may not be on the blockchain. We will see. But it's a very, very, let's say, hard topic to put your finger on it and say, okay, cash will disappear for sure. I think it will disappear, but I don't know the timeline, or I can't see it right now. It depends on what the European Union or global financial institution will envision, because we will also need the support of the states. Regarding the second topic, yes, we are preparing an embedded finance solution. This is what we are. I don't want to spoil surprises because the event will be tomorrow. But Capital Financial Services will offer an embedded finance solution that means e-money accounts with the MasterCard debit cards attached in the first phase to, let's say, a super app. And we will try to bank people that are in a, let's say, a technical savvy situation, that know about blockchain and that want to use financial services in a very, very innovative way. And this is what we are building, and we were building in the last year and a half. And tomorrow we're going to launch the product. So probably next week we could talk a lot more about it.
Okay, Good. We will follow up on that. So let's talk more about the technologies for the next years and beyond. So we have AI, we have chatbots, we have RPA, we have metaverse. How does this technology, and especially AI, will transform the digital sector, the digital and the financial sector from your perspective, because you are a digital transform solution maker, you are a money institution, and you are a provider of identity. So for each and every one of you, this technology will change and affect all of you.
It goes for me.
Kostas, yes.
Right. With respect to AI, definitely there is a lot of room to develop and do a lot of things, all the organizations. Okay, nowadays we see in various applications embedded, like the virtual assistant that I said before, with natural language understanding, now incorporating the ChatGPT. This is also very interesting because now organizations, finance institutions with a virtual assistant, they can have also the, let's say, internal knowledge base that can be enabled by ChatGPT. And there are very specific ways to do this. Data is definitely the fuel for all the plans. We believe that this is definitely a segment within the organizations that companies have to invest and see what they do with their data. There are a lot of pilots and a lot of apps and a lot of dashboards and a lot of analytics, but I believe there's much more. Definitely the financial institutes can use the data for customer retention. This is something painful for all the organization. This is something, an area that we also invest. We want on top of the customer retention to be able to see also profitability per customer, because this is also an important factor. You need to know what is real valuable customer with respect to profitability. Also, who are the customers that are influencers or the real VIP customers. So data can help an AI definitely in this direction. And we always say to our customers, we need to see what is the questions that your data can answer. So we work with them, we qualify what they have in their data lakes or in the various repositories, and then we can see specific plans, how they can use specific products, algorithms, train the algorithms in order to have some business meaningful data in return out of it.
I will be very short. The use cases for an e-money institution, as we see it right now, for AI are very well defined. So we are looking into AI for chatbots, because that will soften and that will increase the communication, let's say, between the bank and the customers. We are looking at AI for monitoring, transaction monitoring, because that was a very, let's say, tedious job. We were doing through third parties and then through live agents. So AI can lessen and can give a very huge increase in productivity on risk assessments. And of course, AI, we are looking for, let's say, a very smart way to see exactly what the portfolio is doing, what are the trends. So let's say an analytics point of view and an analytics overview of a portfolio. So these are the, let's say, three main use cases that we are exploring right now.
So being involved with digital identity, we are sort of very user-focused and user-centric, and we are looking outwards to all the services that can be accessed through the usage of a digital identity. And from our standpoint, LLMs, specifically LLMs, because AI is a sort of a broad topic. Large language models such as ChatGPT or Bard or Llama from Meta, they are the new type of interface. Right? In maybe the 80s or the 90s, we had interfaces that were structured like trees. We structured our files in trees, and then Google search came and search engines came, and then information could be unstructured and we would just search through them. And now we have this new type of interface by which the user, again, doesn't have to have order in the data, but the interface can provide the necessary order. So LLMs can be used to summarize, they can be used to detect patterns, to predict. Basically, this is what they are. They're predictive engines. They do not understand anything. They just predict, if the input were A, what is the likely continuation of the input such that it makes sense. So we can use this sort of power of LLMs to provide a new type of interface to the user within the digital identity scope, such that the chatbot acts, well, it's quite weird to call it a chatbot. Again, it's a concierge, it's a sort of agent that works on your behalf to provide options, and then by way of your digital identity, you can approve or reject those actions. So this is, I think, the view that we have. It will be an addition to the interface by which the user experiences the world and accesses the services.
And also, because we are painting here a brave new digital world, what are the downsides of this brave new digital world? And I will start with Augustin, because there are a lot of users that are afraid, or they don't want to use electronic ID cards, or they don't want to give their data, or they don't want to enroll, or they don't want cards.
So more than ever now, LLMs are clearly superpowers for users. You can make the case, and you can argue that knowing how to Google search, knowing how to use a computer, or knowing how to use the library would have been, in the past, superpowers for users. So those who adopt the technologies and understand how to use them for their own benefit will be more, I think, will have an upper hand, and the others will just be left behind. So I think it will be sort of a process of natural selection, whereby people that are more inclined to use technology will have the upper hand.
People would argue that they are afraid of privacy and security, and that they are being watched using cards or electronic identity cards or so on. So would you respond to that?
Encryption. Encryption rather than obscurity, security through obscurity. So yeah, there are risks, but with any technology, with any tools, there are risks, right? When we invented fire, there's always, since then, from then till now, there's always a risk you can burn your house down, right? If you have like a hammer and you hit your fingers with it, is it the blame of the tool, or is it my fault, right? So there are risks with any technology, and it's up to us to better understand them, know how to use them to our advantage, and eliminate or mitigate as much the risks as possible.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. So what are the downsides from your perspective, since we have bankable people, or people that don't want to use cards? They want to use only cash. They don't want electronic money, especially.
Yeah, I think we are going to a part of the discussion that would let's say focus on financial education, because that's a thing that everybody's talking about. What is financial education? We need to explain to everybody what are the arguments and the downsides of using a bank, an e-money institution, and so on. As any service out there, there are pros, there are cons. But I said it, and I will repeat myself, I do believe personally that using a bank, using digital money, using technologies can protect you more than using cash or let's say traditional solutions. And I will give you just one short example that will summarize everything. Let's say you will pay a service with cash, you get the service, and or you buy a plane ticket, let's say, with cash, and then in 3 months when you have to fly, the company went bankrupt, and your ticket is no longer worth anything, and you lost everything that you paid for. If you would use a card, then you could go through a chargeback process with the bank that issued the card, and in 99% of the case, you get all the money back for that services, being a service that was not rendered to you. So that would protect you. And I think this is one example of many that would encourage everybody to, let's say, research what are the benefits and the cons regarding digitalization and using digital products.
Technology-wise, I would go to the decision-making based on the data you have. And I will connect this that still organizations have a lot of data in paper. So it's very important, and this also will help. We're applying AI data capture to capture all this data, historical files and daily produced file, in order to aggregate all this information and train their algorithms in order to produce the data, the business output they need. Also the anonymization, there's also specific ways that can be applied. And all these obstacles, and I'm sure the part of the cybersecurity can cover with encryption and other nice ways and tools they cover for the security organizations to be able to finally have all the data available for their own intelligence, and also for be able to bring back also personalized services and products and solutions to their customers.
Okay, thank you so much. Since we are out of time, I will want to ask you if you have any questions. Yes, we have a questions.
Hello. Yeah. Hi again. This is Jianu from FinTech Association. Question for, we just talk about digital banking, but we have 5 million pensioners, 5 million employees, 50% use of cash, a lot of cyber attacks, and we know about one today or yesterday. By when do you think will be really digital banking doing that, like, 95% like in the Nordics? Because, we just talk and talk, but I'm not sure that population here or in diaspora is willing to embrace this digitalization of the banking sector. What's the perspective from this? How we convince them? Because if the people don't use it, then it's useless, right? Thank you.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to answer that. It's a very tough question. I think in order to make a significant change and change the statistics right now, we need a series of players to collaborate. And I'm talking about regulators, I'm talking about government, I'm talking about banks, in order to provide, let's say, the umbrella in order for banks, e-monies, financial institutions to, let's say, attack or service the unbanked. In order to service unbanked, we need simple products, we need cheap costs, and we need, let's say, the support of everybody in order for users to understand the benefits and not the downsides. And I think I cannot put a timestamp and say, okay, probably the next generation, the 2000 generation, I think everybody sees that they are more inclined to digital, and we see 18 years old, 20 years old people that they don't even have a bank account. They have only, let's say, a Revolut account or a digital, a neobank account, and for them that's enough. And we will see a change based on the new generation. But again, I think the best way to do is to have a collaborative approach between all the parties involved.
Thank you. If there are any other questions, if not, I will wrap up here. Thank you guys for all your comments.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you for being here.